Welcome to day 36 of the weight loss journey. Now, as I promised, I'm going to try to go over a little bit about TIAs and it's what they call mini strokes. And strokes, I started having mine, I guess my biggest stroke was in 2012, but since then I've had several little mini strokes. They say go to the doctor every time you have symptoms. I don't do that unless I know it's really serious, because I went to the doctor there before I had my ablation and my pacemaker and then put in. I went to the doctor a lot and to the emergency room a lot because I was having stroke symptoms. I had slurred speech and my face would go numb, and it was always on the left side, and then I'd have trouble with the left arm and the left leg, and so that was one of the issues that I had, and it was ongoing, and it seemed like I'd just get over one and then I'd have another one. Now, there is a fine line between the bigger strokes and the mini strokes. It's kind of a in-between stroke, and usually if you have one of the in-between stroke, you still have to go through a lot of trouble recovering. I mean, I'm saying you'll have the face will be numb, and the arm will bother you, and the leg would kind of droop, and you'll have to kind of drag it, sometimes. And strokes, TIAs, and everything affects everybody different. It's no two ones are alike. And where I may have trouble speaking, and I may have trouble with my face, some other person may have trouble swallowing or breathing, or they may not can walk at all. And it just, some people can't see because some people go blind temporarily, and it affects different people different ways. Some of the things that can cause a TIA, it's just a temporary blockage is what they call it. But now I'm going to tell you, they say, well, it doesn't do lasting damage, but each time you have one, you notice a little different. You may be a little slower in some other areas, or you may be you may not feel exactly right. I can tell you from experience, a lot of people don't have this, but sometimes you feel like there's a line drawn all the way down, and your left side doesn't want to live with the right side. It's like they're constantly like, I ain't part of this side, and this side over here, no, I ain't part of this side neither. Now, I know that sounds strange, but that's the way it is with me. Now, like I said, somebody else would be totally different. But a blood clot can break off and travel up and cause one. Plaque in the arteries. Sometimes if you have buildup in your plaque in your arteries, it breaks off and it goes up and it causes a temporary blockage. Sometimes it goes up and it causes a blockage that's long enough that it'll cause the major stroke, but most of the time it's just a little TIA, what they call a little TIA. But it makes you feel funny. It makes you talk funny. It makes you feel funny. It makes everything seem weird and out of place. And a lot of people say, well, that's not right. Well, it's not right because you're not right when you have one. And it takes a little while to get over it. Even though it is a small one, it takes a while to get over it, because your brain is going to be like, for a couple of days afterwards. And that's the situation I'm in right now. I've had two small ones. I had one yesterday and the day before, and they were small, but they were enough that I had trouble speaking. I had trouble focusing. I didn't go to the doctor. I just kind of toughed it out here. Sometimes I've toughed it out here and paid the price for it with my arm messed up for a while, but just luckily it was just some small ones, and they didn't last very long, but they make me kind of have trouble concentrating and remembering like passwords or remembering numbers. You'll be counting, you say, oh, count the so and so and so and so, and you get that up that a good ways, and then you're like, uh-oh, what goes after that? Or you may skip a number and you start over. It just the way your brain works sometimes. But anyway, the main thing, if you feel funny and you're having stroke-like symptoms, I will tell you to go to the hospital. If it's your first time or if it's your umpteenth time, you need to go get it checked out. Because, you never know which one's going to be the biggest one. Me, myself, and I had a bad experience at the hospital when I was having so many of them. They kind of made fun of me because they said, it's just a TIA, a mini stroke. Go home, just go home. Don't worry about it, okay? But they laughed, and when they laughed, that kind of like, okay, when you call 911 or you talk to a nurse, like they have a helpline here, and you call that nurse, and the nurse says, well, you need to go to the hospital. Well, you trippity-trop off to the hospital, and you get that. It kind of makes you a little gun-shy. But I'm not saying everybody's going to have that experience. That's just mine. A lot of times they think, well, are you taking your Coumadin? And my answer is yes, I am taking my Coumadin. I do take my warfarin, sodium, okay? Sometimes I drink a lot of soy or eat soy. Sometimes I eat greens. Anything green, vitamin K, it interferes with your warfarin. And they say, well, you're not supposed to eat that. You're not supposed to eat those greens all the time. And if you do, you got to kind of make it where it evens out. Well, I don't even it out a lot. And so maybe one time I may go, my level may be 1, even though I'm taking my Coumadin, my warfarin sodium, even though I'm taking it. It may be that 1. And I may go in the next time, and it may be 5 or 6, and they're like, oh, Miss Lyra, you better sit down. I don't think you need to go anywhere. Are you bleeding? They don't even hardly want to check you. Are you still bleeding? They don't even want to check you when it's like that. And they won't let you go home until they decide what they're going to do. I've had that happen. Just go in for a regular checkup, feeling really good, just go in for my blood stick, and, yeah, you ain't going nowhere. You're going to sit there for a little while till we figure out what we're going to do. And I know it is dangerous, if you start bleeding. It is, and you can't stop. Definitely need to get somewhere. It's kind of, sometimes I make fun of myself because I realize that I'm me, I'm just, I'm out there sometimes. And the mini strokes don't help none. My worst thing is if I have a really, really bad one, I get grumpy. And I don't like being grumpy. I'm sure my family doesn't like it either. But it's like when you're so addled, you don't understand what's going on and you can't figure it out, and you're like, you liable to lash out, you liable to say a few things you're not supposed to say. Which I have done that, and I hate that, and I hate that part of it. I wish that this life was all sunshine and rainbows and unicorns, but it's not. I'm just trying to, if I can help anybody. If you see your face, if you feel your face, now sometimes you can feel your face drawing. If you feel your face drawing or it droops and you can't talk very well, you can't swallow very well, you can't breathe very well, it's time to go to the hospital. It's time to go get checked out. Don't sit there and say, it'll pass, and you can't swallow, and you're having trouble breathing, and your face is drawing, and your face is just like, don't sit there and wait. Same thing with a heart attack. If you feel like you're having a heart attack, don't just say, oh, it's heartburn, and go to bed. Don't do that. Because it's not good for you. It may just be heartburn. It may be that reflux, that gastric reflux. It may just be that. But you don't want to take that chance. Because if it's not that gastric reflux and it is a heart attack, you miss out on getting that clot buster thing of Plavix they can give you. I kid you not, they will come in there if you're having heart attack symptoms or you're having stroke-like symptoms. both together, and they will come in there with a cup of Plavix, and you will take that cup of Plavix, and you will swallow that down, and then they will make you stay a while, usually overnight, to make sure that you don't have any clots that go throwing up this way, and to make sure your heart's going to be okay. And they're going to do three blood tests. They're going to be one drawn at one time when you go in, two on up in the night, and another one on up in the morning again. You'll have 3 of them to check your enzymes, your heart enzymes. And then, if they think your blood is too thick, you'll get the shots in the stomach. And I don't remember what they're called. They sting. They really do sting a lot. And but they're worth it. It keeps your blood thin. And if you do have a clot, along with the Plavix, this will keep you from having the clot move or the clot going up. Usually the shots and the Plavix, it dissolves the clot, it gets rid of the clot, so you don't have to worry about it. But that's just some things that, you need to be aware of. Just don't sit there and say, oh well, it's just gas, it'll pass. But sometimes it will and sometimes it won't. And you don't want to be on the other end of it when it won't, because it damages your heart. When it damages your heart, you have, a lot of times, congestive heart failure. You don't want to have to deal with that little monkey either, because that little monkey is something that will really mess you up. It's the fluid, because the fluid builds up around your heart. The fluid builds up, and you have to take medicine to get rid of the fluid. If you're in it's got certain stages. The stage 1's not so bad. Stage 2 or stage 3, it gets worse. That's, like I said, that's something you really don't want. You don't want your heart damaged to the point that it can't pump right, till it can't do right, because eventually it gets enlarged and you have to have help. Like I did. I had AFib so bad and it was kind of hard. I was taking my heart medicine. I'd still have my AFib, and I finally had to have the ablation done. And don't get me wrong, I was scared. I was scared about the ablation. I was scared about the pacemaker and the defibrillator. But I went through it. The year before I had my ablation and all that other stuff, I had a loop recorder put in, which the loop recorder monitored my AFib. And I remember one time getting a letter from the heart doctor saying, Miss Lowry, you need to come in because your AFib is out of control. And I'm like, yeah. I called that very day and I went on in. It's just things like that you got to stay on top of. You can't really let yourself go to the point that you could get in trouble. It's just some good advice here, people. I don't want to see anybody have to go through all the stuff that I've had to go through, okay? And I want to wish you, blessings, and I pray for you, and I pray that the Lord will bless you and keep you, and I will talk to y'all tomorrow and maybe give you a little bit more advice on some other stuff, but, just for tonight, y'all be safe and take care. Bye-bye.